Do you love Konosuba? You're going to love Combatants Will Be Dispatched. Join me as we have a look and find out what makes this series such a great one.
That man and his merch.
Hello and welcome to That Man. That is my merchandise, and today we are looking at Combatants Will Be Dispatched by Natsume Akatsuki. You may know him as the creator of Konosuba. That's right, this is another series from the mastermind behind Konosuba. Now, if you love manga, if you love light novels and merchandise, make sure you enjoy everything, get excited and subscribe to the channel.
Konosuba is as a series. It takes all of the very worst tropes of not only isekai, but cliches from harem and ecchi series too. It lampoons them and then puts out a product that actually works.
Combatants Will Be Dispatched is another series very much like Konosuba. It was actually created before Konosuba in a very light form, and here it is repackaged, repurposed and brought out as an actual series. Now, so far in Japan I believe there are only 3 volumes, but that doesn't mean it's worth skipping on. This is every bit as good as Konosuba is so far. Now, Konosuba, we all know, is about horrible people being horrible to each other, and Combatants Will Be Dispatched is very much that same thing. The twist is, this time, the main protagonists, they are evil. That's right, they are evil villains planning to take over a fantasy world in order to further the evil villain empire. That sounds so ridiculous, it so much works. After a quick dice roll, the supreme leaders of the Kasagi Corporation end up choosing Agent Number 6 as their initial scout to a far-off planet in which they kind of see that, yeah, it's a fantasy world. So yes, we are once again in that whole fantasy isekai protagonist thing. However, it is slightly different in the fact that he is literally just dumped on this other world. It's a slightly different twist to the whole isekai thing. It's an isekai, it's born in another world, it's life in another world, but he isn't killed in order to do that. And from what we see during the series, it looks like that they can travel to and from this world to the other world at will. Now, Agent Number 6 is travelling alongside Alice Kisaragi. She is an android. She has absolutely zero emotions, except she has plenty of emotions, and if she takes enough damage, she will explode. That's right, we do get a lot of the stuff that we kind of know and love from Konosuba in this series. So for example, Alice Kisaragi, she is basically the Mega Man. While she doesn't use the self-destruction explosion really as an attack, the whole of the threat is there. However, we do see a lot of kind of similarities between this and some other characters, including Agent Number 6 even using the whole explosion as an attack at one point. Agent Number 6 is a competent character in the Kasagi Corporation, and yes, he does basically become another Kazuma. However, this works. Kazuma was just a horrible person, whereas in this, he is a horrible person, but he gets evil points for doing so. So for example, if they do stuff like they do something horrible to someone, they get evil points. They can use those evil points in order to purchase upgrades, in order to purchase weapons, in order to take out their enemies. So this has the main 2 characters really becoming quite adept in being evil, to the point that they actually alter an ancient prayer to a temple to something absolutely lewd, something ridiculous, because whenever they're going to see it, they're going to get evil points. Win-win. Unless you're that kingdom, and then you no longer kind of want to do that out of embarrassment. Oh well. And I love this kind of concept. Whereas Kazum and Aqua and all that, they were horrible people. However, they were always working for the greater good. These are horrible people being horrible for the greater evil, and they take on the Demon Lord and his kingdom because there can only be one evil kingdom at once. And this is what I loved about Combatants Will Be Dispatched. It is a fun series of events. It's over the top, it's ridiculous, and I loved the characters that they really did in this one. It was so much fun. So one of the characters we have is Snow. She is essentially Aqua combined with darkness. That's right. She is a strong knight, but she will sell you out for a promotion. Yes, being an underling, she's quite useless, but she's an underling, but then she's also kind of bosses them around, and I love that. I love how they were so similar to characters we know and love, but they managed to do something different with it. That's what you want with a series. That's really what you want in a series, is that something similar but something new and unique, and this series has it in spades. Two of the characters they have in the series is Rose and Grim. Now, Rose is a chimera, so she eats stuff and she gets their abilities. They basically just say she's basically Kirby. Or if you haven't played enough games, or if you just read that one manga, she's like Sun Eater from My Hero Academia. And I really like this. She is very much the younger girl, the younger sister kind of one. She comes out with those whole kind of spiels like Megumin does from the Crimson Village, but then she's just like, my grandpa used to tell me, he said on his deathbed, I had to say these words whenever I did an attack. And they're just like, sure, why not? And Grim is, she's a cursed individual. It says on here that she's an absolute slut. That's kind of right. She's kind of a little bit like Darkness, where she's a masochist. What I found was interesting is that she's in a wheelchair, not because she's disabled, but because her curses backfire. She is kind of like Farsha from Fire Emblem Awakening, if you've ever played that, where she will use curses as an attack. However, every now and again her curses will backfire and she will be inflicted. So she kind of goes with all of these little curses where she's just like, oh, your arms will fall asleep and stuff like that. She's killed off multiple times during the series of the volume, and she ends up being brought back to life using random things, and it's really adorable. For example, Rose donates her used pair of socks because the Dark Lord that Grim worships is one of the things that people are really attached to. So it's just like, oh, here's my used socks. I've had them for years, and it's like, they're really well worn, them socks. And then it's just like she gets brought back using used pairs of socks, and yeah, it's really nice. I really like the whole way of doing it, and it was really nice to have a handicapped character as a main protagonist in a series. I really enjoyed that. So the humour is essentially like Konosuba, horrible people being horrible to each other. And this is pretty much, Agent 6 is a worse version of Kazuma because he's an evil villain. He's horrible to his superiors, he's horrible to his underlings, but everybody else is also horrible. Like I said, Snow basically just sells them out. Rose is the innocent, adorable daughter. Alice, despite being an android who has absolutely no emotions, she's pretty much a smart mouth, and she often plays the straight person to Agent Number 6's comic foils. But she's also got a mean streak to her as well. One of the things I really loved about it is how they took a lot of the concepts between fantasy isekais and kind of took them on their head. So Agent Number 6 and Alice, very early on, they beat one of the Demon Lord's evil villainesses. And they're just like, okay, what do we do with it? And she's like, don't kill me, don't kill me. And they're like, okay, what we'll do is we'll have you pose for all of these erotic photos. I'll take them as souvenirs and I'll sell them later on. Not only do they manage to humiliate the Demon Lord, but they also manage to get many evil points to do it. Another one is when they're kind of storming a tower. They're just like, the knights are all just like, what we're going to do, what we're going to do. We'll storm the tower, and they're just like, no, the easiest way to do it is what we'll do is we'll set a fire at the bottom, and we'll just kook them. We'll kook the bosses. And they're just like, yeah, we're not doing that. We can't do that. That's too horrible. And they're just like, we're gonna have to win. We're gonna not lose any people for that. And they're just like, no, we can't do that. We're knights. We're too honor bound for that. So what Agent Number 6 and his characters and his cast do is they storm the tower. While the people are storming the tower, they climb up the tower, get to the top of the thing, and just kick the boss off the side of the tower and blackmail the other one into getting them back up. I loved that. I loved that as a concept. They have this whole thing about how the the characters are going to be the fantasy protagonists, right? The chosen ones, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm the chosen one, I've got a scar on my hand, and just like, that's just a spot. We've actually already got a chosen one, and that chosen one ends up getting knocked out and disappears and all kinds of stuff. And so it comes upon Agent Number 6. They're horrible people, and this is why the series works. Kazuma and all that are also horrible people, and that's why we love Konosuba. Combatants Will Be Dispatched, they are horrible people, and yes, they are always horrible, and that's what makes this series so great. I promised myself I wasn't going to buy any new series, at least any new light novels, but this one is definite and must purchase. If you like Konosuba, you will like this series. I'm going to the point that this series is an absolute must-have purchase for a new light novel for this year. It's ridiculous, it's over the top, but you will have so much fun with it. It is around 250 pages, which is quite lengthy for the first volume, but you will enjoy it so much, it will go by so quickly. Don't delay, pick this one up right now.